Hi everyone, my name is Ivy and welcome back to my Disney Diaries. Today's video is going to be very chatty and I'm literally just going to talk to you about my experience with the DCP so far and just everything that I've done and the positives, the negatives. So if you are not interested in hearing me ramble for however long this video is, this might not be the video for you, but I do have other videos on my channel that might interest you. I do a lot of videos regarding park days, week in my life, day in my life, stuff like that. So definitely go check those ones out if you haven't already. But in today's video, I thought it would be really fun just to recap on what my life has been like down here these past few months. It is currently October 16th. I got here June 26th, so it's been just under 4 months since I arrived, which is so weird because I feel like I've been here forever on one hand, but on the other hand, I feel like I just got here. So yeah, I figured it would be kind of fun just to go through my camera roll and just talk about things I've done, experiences I've had, positives and negatives. I am someone who definitely does not like to talk about the negatives. I like to focus on the positives, but especially for a program like this one, I do think it is important to address the negative sides. Not even just negatives, but to address the things that might not be as glamorous as some of the other people make it out to be. For me personally, I've had an incredible experience down here. I have loved every second of it. There obviously have been days that are hard, moments that are hard, but for me personally, I could see myself living down here long term. I have made the decision not to extend my program this time. However, that was a very hard decision for me, and I 110% will be back to Disney. I will be doing another program because for me it has been incredible. I set my expectations for this program very high and I have exceeded those expectations. I've had an amazing time, but I do have friends that did not like the program and have self-termed, which means pretty much that they decided to go home early, and that's completely their decision. I completely understood the reasons they had for making that decision. Their story is not my story to tell, but I can give you insight on why they did what they did. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. To begin, I kind of just want to go back to one of my very first videos where I did a DCP questionnaire get to know me, and in that video I said that one of my goals for myself was to put myself out there and make friends, and I have done that times 10. I have never had this many friends that I'm genuinely close with and genuinely feel like I could go to them for advice, for help, just to have a shoulder to cry on, to have a great time. I feel like I've made lifelong friends, friends that I will keep for a lifetime, and that was one of the biggest things that I wanted for myself coming down here because I've never had that. And it's making me emotional because this program has meant so much to me, and I truly feel like I have grown into myself down here. I feel like I am a completely different person in a good way. Like, I feel like parts of me back home that I can't necessarily share 100% because of the people who I'm friends with or the people who I spend my time with, I don't feel like they would get me 100%. So without even meaning to, I've hid those parts of me. And down here, I was able to be whoever I wanted to be because I didn't know anyone coming into the program. My boyfriend came down 2 months in, but obviously I can be myself around him, and he didn't come for 2 months, so I was literally down here by myself for 2 months. I had to make friends or I'd be by myself, and I got extremely lucky. It's really funny looking back on my video where I'm talking about my expectations and my get to know me. One of the questions was, do you know your roommate? And I did not know my roommate. We had linked, but we hadn't met. We had talked a little bit, but you never know how you're gonna get along with somebody until you fully live with them, especially us sharing a room. It's very easy to get on each other's nerves and spend too much time together. I love her to death. She is the best friend I've ever had in my life. I'm so lucky to have her, and I'm so lucky that we linked because it's just crazy to me that there's so many people in this program. You have to have the exact same dates, this exact same arrival and departure dates to be able to link, and then the fact that we chose each other is just really weird. But yeah, I'm so thankful for her. She has made this program 10 times better than it would have been without her. So that's one thing that I'm really grateful for. And in that video I was like, yeah, she's super sweet, but I haven't met her, and now she's my best friend that I've ever had. So that's one thing about the program, is you will make incredible friends if you put yourself out there and just be yourself. They will come to you. You'll make friends with your coworkers, with your roommates, with anyone that you try to make friends with. You can. It's so easy. There's someone for everyone here. So right now I am just scrolling back in my camera roll just to start at the beginning and talk about my program and everything I've done so far. June 26th was my move-in day. I remember that being such a great day. I was so excited. I had so many high expectations, and I remember being extremely anxious because I woke up that morning on move-in day and I had Bell's palsy. And in my videos, if you go back to the beginning, I did go through a little bit of my journey on my channel, but I wasn't as into vlogging at the time. I didn't vlog that aspect because at first it was very embarrassing. I felt very embarrassed even though it was literally not my fault and I had done nothing to get that, and I just got really unlucky. But I remember feeling so anxious, and I was already like, I have to make friends, and now I'm so self-conscious because literally my eye wouldn't blink. Half my mouth was like literally paralyzed, so I couldn't like drink out of a straw properly, I couldn't eat properly, and it was just so embarrassing trying to make friends and feeling self-conscious. And the way I've described it to people is I have felt very self-conscious about a lot of things in my life. My face has never been one of them, and to feel that anxiety on the first day of move-in and to feel anxious like making eye contact with people and talking to people, and that's so important on your move-in day because that's when you make friends, that's when you start your group, and to feel like I couldn't do that gave me so much anxiety. I remember move-in day, I went with my roommate Kylie and her family to the Polynesian, and we got Dole Whip and watched fireworks, and it was a great time. But I remember in the back of my mind the whole day I was thinking, what if they think I'm weird? What if they think there's something wrong with me? You know, what if they can see there's something wrong with my face? And they couldn't. But to me, that was all I was thinking about. Also on move-in day, I remember I met this girl doing background check, and we started talking, and we were like exchanging information, and when we exchanged names, she was like, oh my gosh, like I follow you on Instagram. And it turned out we'd already been like talking a little bit on Instagram, not DMing, but like commenting on each other's stuff, liking each other's posts, stuff like that. And it was so funny that we had just happened to be standing next to each other during background checks. That was just so crazy to like make friends like that because that's something I'd never had before. So June 27th, I woke up in the morning and I was hoping that I'd wake up and my face would be back to normal, and it was just a weird thing that I had for a day, but that is not what happened. I woke up and my face was worse, so I started to panic, and I was like, I felt so awkward because Kylie was sleeping in the room with me because we shared a room, and I woke up and I was like trying to get dressed really quiet because I didn't want to wake her up because I didn't want her to be like, where are you going? So I'd almost made it. I was like getting ready to walk into the bathroom, and she woke up and she thought I was doing something fun without her. So she was like, oh my gosh, where are you going? And I was literally crying. I was like, I'm going to the ER. And she was like, oh my gosh, why? And I had to explain it, and it was so embarrassing, which it wasn't, but to me it was like the end of the world. So she was like, do you want me to come with you? And I was like, no, I want to go by myself. So I went to the Flamingo Crossings, like Advent Health ER across the street, and I got there and I walked in and I was on the verge of tears because I was like so scared. And I walk in and there's like a police officer sitting at the desk for some reason, I don't know. And I walk in and I'm like, hi, I can't move half my face. Like half my face is paralyzed. And he literally was like, I have a Cody. And then everyone thought I was having a stroke. So everyone like rushed out to me and like put me on a gurney and like wheeled me back. And at this point I'm crying because I'm freaking out. Everyone's acting like I'm having a stroke. So I go back and the doctor like comes back to see me, and he like does a bunch of like tests like on my eyes and like my mouth and stuff. I don't remember, but he did a bunch of tests and he was like, okay, you're not having a stroke. I was like, thank God. Because I'd tried to make an appointment for an urgent care, and whenever I told them my symptoms, they sent me an email back that was like, you're having symptoms of a stroke, so we can't treat you. I was like, okay. So anyway, I didn't have a stroke, I just had Bell's palsy. And that was really crazy. I did a lot of acupuncture, which helped. If you ever get Bell's palsy, I pray you don't because it's awful. But if you ever do, acupuncture does work. I did that for like 2 months, and my face is mostly better now. You cannot see it at all. I can't see it at all. I definitely have a little bit of like body dysmorphia in my face though. There's sometimes I look at myself and I'm like, Am I blinking? Like, is my eye moving? But yeah, for a long time I did see the side effects. Now I just feel them. Like if I'm putting makeup on right here, and on this side of my face, my eye's very twitchy. If I'm in like highly air-conditioned spaces or places where fans are blowing on my face very heavily, this side of my face will get more paralyzed. But I'm just thankful that it's fully better at this point, because the doctor told me that it could take up to 3 months, and I was like, are you kidding? Like, is that a joke? Is that a joke? But it wasn't. But yeah, after that, I remember Traditions. Traditions was so much fun. The whole experience was definitely affected by having Bell's palsy, because I remember like Kylie would want to take pictures of us and like, you know, of us getting ready or of us getting our ears at Traditions, and I felt like I couldn't smile or I couldn't like be in the photos because I looked so weird to me, because one of my eyes like would not blink. And that was such a big deal to me, and I remember that being such a big deal. But looking back on it, it wasn't that bad. I remember getting our ears and getting our name tags and finding out where everyone's gonna be working is so much fun. And then one of the best parts of Traditions is getting together with all your friends and going to Disney University, because Traditions is usually, for most people, it's at Flamingo Crossings Village East. So whenever you get your name tag and everything, you drive to Disney University and you take the photos with the Disney University sign and your name tag and everything. And that was so much fun. I went with Kylie, my friend Lillian, and my other friend Brooke. And then my friend Lillian was going to be working as club level at the Wilderness Lodge. So we decided to go to the Wilderness Lodge afterwards and get some food. So we went over there, we ate, and we had a magical moment. One of the cast members like saw us, and we were telling him about our experience and our traditions, and he gave us like a free cupcake. And it was just so cool that like still to this day, even though you're a cast member, you still experience the magic every day. Especially like for me and for a lot of the other friends I've made in the college program, when you meet someone else that's in the college program or you meet another cast member, you are so much more likely to go out of your way to give them a good experience, because like you're already connected in that way of that you're already friends even though you're not. And it's so funny. And another thing that's crazy to me is you'll meet someone and you'll have 20 mutual friends, and it's like just people you follow on Instagram or people you've connected with at Traditions or at different things or auditions, and it's like it's so cool just how everyone is so connected and everyone is so nice here. I have not met one person that has been mean, like, which is crazy. I mean, I know there are people here that don't like the program and, you know, don't experience it well, but it truly is what you make of it. And everyone that I've had the chance of coming across here has been so kind and so welcoming. So I remember being here for the 4th of July. We had not gotten our park admission yet, so we still had to resort hop and everything, which was honestly so fun. Like now they're giving the college program 3 tickets when they arrive, so they can go to the parks before they receive their like self-admit passes, which is really nice, and I would definitely be happy to have that before you like start work and everything. I do not complain about the first week not having park admission, because we really got to experience the pools and the facilities that Flamingo offers, and we got to resort hop and go to different resorts and spend time there. And that's something that when you do get that park admission so fast, that's obviously what you want to do. You want to go into the parks. So that is a little different for us, but we had a great time. And then I had my first day of like training on the computer, and I remember I was like very scared because I did not have a good first 2 days of training. I got dress coded because I wasn't in Disney look because my dress was too short, which like fair enough, but it was just not a good experience. I did not like my training on the computer. Like I did not like the cast members that trained me. They were just not very friendly. Not the people at my actual location. The cast at my actual location is amazing and I love them so much. But the cast downstairs, when you first were doing your onboarding, they were not the nicest to me. I did not have the nicest welcome. I was the only CP coming into my location, so I did it like by myself. And I don't know, I just personally did not have a great experience with that, so I was very scared to start my job because I'm like, what if I also don't like it? But I went in with an open mind. I had my first actual day of on-the-job training July 6th. So about 10 days, is that right? 10 days after I'd gotten here? I don't know. My leaders are amazing. I have the best leaders. They're so sweet. At the time, it was me and 2 other CPs. Those CPs have now left. One of them was Catherine. If you watch TikTok at all and you're on the DCP like For You page, I don't know, you definitely know Catherine. I'd seen her TikToks. We ended up working together. We're friends now. She's friends with my roommate. So that was super cool. I was really sad when she left because we got along really well and I liked working with other CPs. That's the only negative thing about my location is there's no CPs. And that's a big thing, is you definitely make friends with your coworkers. And like Kylie, for example, Kylie works monorails and she has a ton of coworkers that are CPs. But yeah, that's the only negative about my job, is for one, you make really good friends with coworkers, and two, it's impossible for me to trade shifts. Like I literally, this week was the first time I was able to trade a shift, like without asking for an ADO, which is crazy, because other places you can literally trade all your shifts if you want, which you shouldn't because you need to pay your rent, but you could, but I can't. So Catherine left, the other CP left, and then it was just me for like a week. And then we got 3 new CPs. One of the CPs I wasn't really close with. He ended up terming like a month into his program, and then I got really close with the other 2 CPs that worked with me. Me and one of the girls were like really into thrifting, so we'd go thrifting, we'd get coffee a lot before work, we would do some park days, and it was so much fun. And they both actually termed about a week ago. So I'm really sad about that. I miss them a lot. I was really close with them. And that's one of the things that's really hard about the college program, is you get so close with people and then they leave. Their program ends, they term, something happens, and that's one of the hardest parts, because you get really attached to these friends and you make these connections and these relationships, and then they leave. But the good thing is you get so close with people while you're here that 100% like I will be visiting them, and everyone lives in such cool places. It just gives you an excuse to visit places you've never went before, because you have friends that live there, you have connections, relationships in those places. So it's a negative, but it's also a positive, because I wouldn't trade those friendships for the world. I love them to death. I fully understand why they left, but I do feel for them, and I do wish it turned out differently for them, because they had very high expectations and they were just not met for them, and that's how it is for some people. That's another thing, is everyone's program is different. For me, I would not even think about terming. I've loved it here, I've had a great time, I would love to extend. But for some people, like my coworkers, they don't have that experience, and that's okay. On one hand, it's luck of the draw, and on the other hand, it's what you make of it. But yeah, after my first day, I was super happy. I was super happy with the role. My original role was a seater and greeter at Toledo, which is in Coronado Springs. It's a rooftop restaurant. It's steakhouse, tapas, and seafood. It's a great location. I love it a lot. So my original role was seating and greeting, and I did that for about a month, and then I started to get assigner trained. So if you don't know what an assigner is, it's the person that walks around the restaurant with an iPad and like decides like what parties are sat where with what servers. So for my restaurant, we usually have 15 servers on the floor, and I decide, you know, what rotation we go in, and there's rules and everything, but I pretty much seat the servers their tables for the night. And then at the end of the night, I am GT, which is general teller. So I wait for all the servers to be finished for the night, and then I bank them out. So I give them their tips, and I make sure all the money for the store is accounted for, and I turn it all in. I drop the money at the end of the night, and that's pretty much it. And with being a signer in GT, I know a lot of people aren't very close with their leadership, and for me, I've gotten very lucky, because for one, now I'm the only CP, and two, I spend a lot of time in the back with the leadership, and I'm the only person back there until like 1 a.m. sometimes. So I've had a lot of opportunities to talk one-on-one with my leadership, with my coordinators, so I'm very lucky in that sense too. Another thing is you will definitely go to the parks. A lot of people constantly ask, you know, do you go to the parks a lot? Do you do this? For me, I go usually on at least one of my off days. In the beginning I went a lot more, but now I'm starting to, you know, try and get more into a routine and stuff, because that's another thing for me. I told you this video would be rambly, but that's another thing for me, is I am very into my fitness and my health. That's something that I've gotten into within the last year really heavily, because I can't eat whatever I want and not gain weight. So I work really hard on keeping my routine consistent. I go to the gym at least 5 days a week. Obviously there are weeks that I don't do that because I have late shifts or I get busy or, you know, life gets in the way, but the gym is something that I try to hold very high and is something that is a priority to me. And that's something that I've struggled with down here a little bit, because back home I don't have friendships to keep up with. I have my boyfriend, I have soccer practice, and I go home, and that's just all I have. So at home, it's easy to make sure I go to the gym and make sure I eat right. But down here, obviously it's harder, because, you know, you have 10 different friendships to keep up. You have your boyfriend, you have the parks that you want to go to, you have to go to work. You're usually working 40 hours a week. So it's a lot harder, and it's a lot more to balance. I'm also doing school full time, so that's been a lot for me. That's something that I've struggled with a little bit, because people will ask me to do things, and it's a fine balance of not wanting to miss out, but also not wanting to give up all of my hard work. So yeah, that's been something that definitely, if you are into the gym or you have other priorities like that, it's something that you'll have to work on. You'll have to find that time for yourself depending on your, your routine, your schedule. For me, I am the type of person that I want to go to bed at a decent time and I want to get up early. On my days that I work, that doesn't really work for me because usually I don't get off work until 1, 2 a.m. So by the time I get back, I make dinner, I'm in bed by usually 2, sometimes 3, depending when I get off. And then I want to get up early. I don't want to sleep in because I have a lot to do. So I get up at I try to get up at 10, earlier if I can, but usually, I'm just so tired. So I'll get up and I'll go to the gym and, I'll go to work. So that's been kind of hard for me, especially in the beginning, because a lot of people go to the parks a lot because they don't have the priority of going to the gym, eating healthy. So before work, they'll go into the park for the whole day and then go to work. For me, I want to make sure I go to the gym. So there are some days in the mornings that I'll get up early and go to the gym and then I'll go to the park, or I'll go to the park, come back, go to the gym, and then go to work. But it's definitely a balance and it's different for everyone. But that is something that is not necessarily a negative or a positive, but something definitely to be thinking about. Another core moment was my first solo park day. July 15th was my first big solo park day, and that is something that I cherish so much. I love my friends and I love going to the park with my friends, but solo park days are amazing and I definitely recommend that you have one once a week, once a month, whatever, but definitely do it. It's so relieving and so peaceful, and I don't know, I just love going to the parks by myself because you can literally do whatever you want. And I don't know about you, but growing up, whenever I would come to Disney, it was literally go, go, go for however many days you were here because you came once a year, once every 2 years. There's a lot of things that I never had taken the time to do that I've taken the time to do on my program that has just been so amazing, and it's such a different type of Disney. And that was something that my mom and I questioned when I was coming down, will the parks feel different? Will it feel like a different thing? And yes, it does feel different, but not in a bad way. And I don't think Disney ever loses the magic. I've been here 4 months and it still feels like, wow, I live at Disney World. I get to go to the parks every day if I want to. And that's crazy to me. And it never gets old, it never wears off. Epcot Food and Wine is going on right now, so I remember going with my friends the very first time. A bunch of us went and we got food and we walked around the festival booths, and that was so much fun. I love Epcot now. That was another thing. Before I got to my program, I did not like Epcot. I didn't care if I went to Epcot. I wanted to go for Guardians, but that was it. Did not like it, was not a fan. Now I love Epcot, and Epcot is definitely one of the easiest parks to do a solo day, especially on days when you're having your cheat meal or your cheat day, because it's so easy to walk around all the different countries and ride a few rides here and there because the waits aren't super crazy there. And also, you walk around all the different countries, you can get some snacks, some food, some drinks if that's what you're into. Family visiting is so much fun. My family comes down a lot. They became annual pass holders when they realized that I was going to be doing the program, so they've really enjoyed coming down. They camp, so they bring the dogs down. They camp at the campground, Fort Wilderness. So that's so much fun, and I get to do little staycations when they come because I stay with them. So that's another core thing for me. Hi everyone, so a little change of scenery. My camera battery died last night, so I decided I would just finish it in the morning. So it's the next day. I don't get to now as much where I'm doing class, school full time, but before my school started up in August, I spent a lot of my time going to the Disney offered classes. If you are gonna do the college program or you're an international program participant, definitely do some of those classes because for one, it's really cool to say that you've earned a master's. I do have a master's. So I do have a master's and I have a Daisy doctorate. That one's not as cool because you have to get it printed out by yourself. So I will be printing it out when I get back home and I will be putting it on my wall. But either way, the classes are super fun. This one I did was Tom Nabby, and he was the original Tom Sawyer. And it was really cool because he'd actually met Walt Disney. He has a window on Main Street in Walt Disney World. So that was really cool, and you get to meet so many cool people like that. I did one class where a former college program participant who now works for the Muppets company came in, and she talked to us about the Muppets and told us a bunch of the ins and the outs and the secrets, and it was so much fun because you learn all these things and you see the insides of all these Disney things and Disney facilities and different things like that. And then for example, when I was in that Muppets class, she was talking about how they were starting to try and bring the Muppets more into the parks and start bringing the Muppets back to life. And so now anytime I see Muppets merch in Disney World, I'm I feel very connected to that. Like I feel like I have like the inside knowledge on what's going on. So that's really cool, and it's a great opportunity. It's free. Like you literally can go sign up for whatever you want to do. They do a lot of Discover Disneys, which I feel a little weird about because like I love Disney Magic and I don't necessarily want to see how certain rides work. But if that's something you're into, they do a ton of them. They're really hard to get into, but you can always drop in and hope someone no-shows or sleeps in. Yeah, they're really, really cool. They do a lot, like Tower of Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster, and you get to go like behind the scenes and see how things work and what they do and why they do it. So if you're into that, definitely recommend. Erin and I spent a day resort hopping, and I did film it, but the video just did not turn out how I'd wanted it to. So I will be doing another resort hopping video at some point, but highly recommend resort hopping. I love resort hopping. It's so much fun just going to all the different resorts and seeing, you know, what's your favorite, what's your boyfriend's favorite, what's your friend's favorite, so definitely recommend that. Kylie celebrated her birthday here, so that was really fun to be a part of that. We went to Crystal Palace and had a character breakfast, so that was extremely fun, so worth it. The food was great. The characters were great, obviously, and it was really great to spend that time with her for her birthday. Another big thing that I got to do was the Journey of Water cast preview for Moana. My parents were here at the time, so they got to go with me and do it as well, which was super fun, and it was definitely like a core experience for me because that was my first cast preview, my boyfriend's cast preview, obviously my parents' first cast preview. And I definitely did not have super high expectations for the Moana attraction because it was just a walkthrough, it wasn't a ride. But I fell in love with that attraction. It is so much fun, it's amazing. The way they do it is so interactive, but it still keeps your attention. It's not just like you walk through it and it's pretty, it's very cool. Highly recommend it. If you haven't already, my video, I can link it here. In that video, I walk through the entire attraction so you can get a good idea of what it is and why it's so much fun. But if you are going to be going to Disney soon, it is now officially open to the public. It opened on October 16th. So I don't know how it's going to do with the influx of people coming in. I don't know how they're going to do keeping that organized and like flowing through. It is amazing. The attraction is so much fun. The music in the background they play, like the Moana music, is just so peaceful. My parents and I also got to go to a Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. Highly recommend doing that as well. It was so much fun. Ours did get rained out quite a bit. There was a couple things that we didn't get to see that were a little disappointing, but at the time, you know, we were just super excited to be there and we didn't really have those expectations beforehand. Looking back on some of the things that other people have gotten to do at their parties that we didn't get to do, I am a little bit like sad that we didn't get that, especially for my parents because they're not here all the time and I know they were so excited. But we still had an amazing time. We made the most of it. We didn't care if we got wet and looked like wet cats, but because we did. The stage shows were delayed so much. The last stage show was supposed to go off at 12 and it did not end up happening until like 12:45. So we didn't see that, but we did get to see the Boo to You parade. And I have seen instances where the rainy day parade happens and not the Boo to You parade, so I'm so thankful that we got to see that parade because I would buy a ticket again, hands down, just to see that parade. It's incredible. If you didn't watch that video, I will link it here. In September, my new roommate and I ended up going to Orlando and we did some goat yoga. That was so much fun. If you are in the college program and you're looking for something to do outside of the Disney bubble, highly recommend goat yoga. It was like 35 minutes away. It was literally $35 and you just go. It's not much yoga. It's literally just like you're doing yoga, but there's also like goats jumping on your back and it's crazy, but it's so much fun. Also, another fun thing to do outside of the Disney bubble is Winter Garden. They have a really cute downtown area, and if you're into farmers markets, they do a really cute farmers market on Saturdays. It starts at 8 a.m. I believe and goes until 12 or 1. So definitely go early. It was busy, but it wasn't crazy. There was a lot of different markets and stuff, different little businesses. I got this super cute print there. I want to get all of them. I got one and Kylie got one. I'll show you mine. How cute. It's Epcot. They had all the different parks, but I ended up getting Epcot. But yeah, if you're into little stuff like that, they have a lot of different booths, some boutiques, some food shops. They have actual produce, like a farmer's market as well, so if you need actual produce, you can get that there too. I went there last Saturday for the first time and I will definitely be going back because my friends and I had so much fun. Also, the week we went, there was a community garage sale, so we got to do that as well. It was so great. But yeah, that is pretty much me all caught up on my Disney college program. I told you this video would be rambly, but honestly, I feel like I just needed to sit down and talk talk to you guys. I've been doing a lot of like days in my life, but I've also been super busy, so I don't really feel like I've gotten that quality talking in, especially in my vlogs. I feel like sometimes they're a little bit rushed, and that's something that I am working on, but it is a lot to be, you know, doing classes full-time, working full-time, and holding, you know, those relationships and those friendships. So it's definitely been a balance, and it's definitely something that I'm still working on and probably will work on until I leave, because you know, you never get a set routine, and that's one thing that a lot of people don't do well with down here. I'm still getting used to it, obviously, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for sticking around if you made it to this point. Thanks for listening to me ramble for however long this video was. But yeah, I had so much fun talking to you guys today and yesterday. But yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed. I upload a new video every week, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye!